Hey everyone, it's Miss Baxter. Sorry, Mr. Jennings and I are not there today, but I'm going to go over what you're going to be doing. And as you can see from the screen, you will need your laptop and you are going to be working in groups of 4. You will get to choose your groups, but don't move right now. Let me get through everything and then you'll be able to move around. So for today, your learning target is that today you will identify decisions that impacted the lives and legacies of immigrants in Washington. Your success criteria, you'll be able to analyze primary and secondary sources for evidence of immigrants forming communities and resisting a response to decisions that impacted them. I know that's a lot of words, but basically you're going to be looking at articles, um, and videos and seeing how they have been resilient, how they have lasted through all of the discrimination. All right, and then your language objective. You are going to be using a variety of media to explain the impacts on immigration in a graphic organizer. So just like I said, when we're talking about media, we're talking about videos, articles. These are your primary and secondary sources. And if there are any graphs or charts or pictures or any of those types of things. So here we go. And so earlier we've learned about some of the immigrants who settled in Washington. Each of you and your families may have an immigration story that goes back hundreds of years, and some may be just starting. So today we're going to learn more about major government decisions that impacted immigrant communities in Washington and how the communities found strength and resilience through these challenges. So you also might remember learning where many immigrants have built communities within our state. So we're going to look at the bigger picture. So what I want you to do is to think for a minute. You're going to reflect on and think back to the story wheel that we did. And one of those questions was describe a time when you've connected with somebody, and that is what I'm asking you to reflect on is what is one connection that is important to you and why? I'm going to give you just about 2 minutes to turn to your elbow partner and talk, share this information. Remember, both of you need to talk, so don't hog all the talk time. All right, and begin. Okay, one more minute. If your partner hasn't shared, go ahead and let them share now. About 20 seconds. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's come back together. All right, so when we have connections to people and communities, this also influences how we look and interpret the world. When you are around others who are like you, it's easy to take on similar perspectives. But the challenge is understanding perspectives that are not exactly like yours, or if they're from different communities. So you've already learned about what spurred on migration and immigration to the Washington Territory prior to statehood. But before the gold rush and the completion of the railroad, many who came to the territory were from another state or other countries. The first European immigrants were those who came as explorers to the Americas in the 1700s. Between the 1800s and 1900s, the population grew, with settlers arriving to work in the growing industries of mining, farming, fishing, and logging. The experiences of those who immigrated from countries all over the world also make up the identity of Washington. So some of the first immigrants to the United States were from Asia, specifically China, Japan, and the Philippines. Immigrants from all over Asia came to the United States at different times throughout history for different reasons. And the laws around immigration were very different than they are now. It is important to remember that an immigrant coming from a country like Vietnam has a very different immigration story than someone that came from like Korea. Many of the immigrants from many of the countries in Asia intended to come to the United States to earn an income and then to return to their home countries. But then they ended up staying. This was and continues to be a tension that many immigrants experience even today, as they work to send money back to their families, yet struggle with the push and pull of making money and then leaving it all back to a different life, to go back to a different life. All right, so government decisions that impacted. So again, here's some of what I was just talking about. In the mid-1800s, Chinese were the first Asians to immigrate in large numbers to Washington. Then mid to late 1800s, many Japanese and Korean farmers migrated from Hawaii to the U.S. mainland for jobs in agriculture or farming. The Philippines was a colony of the United States, and Filipinos were able to migrate anywhere in the country. By 1920, Filipinos made up a large segment of workers in the agriculture and fishing industries. All right, some of those government decisions. So we get a pause in immigration. 1882, we get the Chinese Exclusion Act, which prohibited further Chinese immigration for 10 years. While it was just supposed to be for Chinese, it did affect all Asian groups that were migrating, like the Japanese and Korean. Then in 1924, the National Origins Act excluded all Asians from immigrating. And this was at a time of after World War I. Then 1934, the Tidings-McDuffie Act stopped all Filipino immigration. These were people that were they were a U.S. Colony, but they're being stopped. But this is also after the Great Depression, after the fall of the stock market in 1929. And so the country is going through a lot of turmoil, not really being able to feed people and having enough work. So this was a reaction to that. All right. Immigration from Asia increased after the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965, which focused on reuniting families and bringing more skilled labor into the United States. What was that, 31 years? Makes a big difference. 1975, waves of refugees from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos immigrated to the United States to escape the effects of war and violence in their countries. This is a time when there's a lot of communists governments trying to take over, or parties trying to take over the governments, and it wasn't safe. So many settled in King and Pierce counties, as with the cities of Spokane and Yakima in eastern Washington. All right. So part of the tension of being an immigrant was and continues to be the experience of facing discrimination and racial tension. Today, you and your project teams will be reading or listening to stories from immigrants from China, Japan, the Philippines, and Hawaii. Each story is distinct and fascinating because each group of people was impacted differently by federal and local decisions. As you listen to these stories, you will hear about moments of resistance and how immigrants formed communities and opportunities for themselves. So what you're going to be doing is in your groups of 4, again, don't move yet, don't start talking about who you want to work with, wait until I'm done and then you'll be able to do that. So you are going to be working in these groups, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. You will access all your information on Canvas. It's on the homepage. You will see it, and this PowerPoint will be attached. I just haven't done it yet because I wanted to get the audio on there first. But in your groups, you're going to divide out the work. I have a couple options for you, but you have to be remembering of time. You only have the rest of today's class and Wednesday's class to complete this. Your guest teacher will all be letting me know on Wednesday how you guys did for both Mr. Jennings' room and my room, and to see if I need to adjust the rest of the week's schedule. But as of right now, you only get Monday and Wednesday. All right. So you're going to decide who's going to do Filipino, who's going to do Hawaiian, Chinese, Japanese. Okay. If you happen to be in a group that is not 4 people, then you're going to have to divide it up, figure out how you're going to get this all accomplished. Because what you have to do is each one of these is either you're going to be doing a combination of reading articles, reading from websites, articles on websites, or watching videos. And some of the videos are kind of long, I will tell you that. But you're going to then answer questions, and you're going to make the connection back to decisions, change, resistance, and interconnectedness. So the same things we've been doing. And it is really important for you to understand that you need to have all 4 of these documents done. So while if you're in a group of 4, you are only going to be filling out one of them, but the rest of your group is doing the rest. And then they need to share with you that information, and you need to ask questions so that you understand exactly what was going on from their perspective, so that you're going to take these 4 documents and they are going to be your evidence for your end of unit assessment that we're going to be doing on Thursday and Friday. Okay, so if you don't have this done, just know that it's between these 4 documents and the assessment, it is 9 grades. So that can have a huge impact on your grade. So I just want you aware of what's going on ahead of time, and make sure because each of you are going to be responsible for turning in all 4. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right. Now, I will be available through email. Mr. Jennings will be available through email. If you have any questions, my email is on the screen, so you can email me. I will have my phone on me so that I can check emails. I might not be super fast at getting back at you, but just know that I will get back to answer all of your questions, okay? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And remember, when you come in on Wednesday, you're just going to jump right back into your groups and get back on your work. I will be back on Thursday, and Mr. Jennings' class, you have Miss Pena, and she can email me or text me questions as well. Then, or you can ask me questions when I get back on Thursday. So I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing while Mr. Jennings and I are out. Remember to follow the royal way, be responsible, respectful, and safe. And I will be giving gold crowns out based off of the information that Miss Pena and my sub give me when I come back. So that includes Mr. Jennings' class, like I said. So do right, make good choices, and I will see you on Thursday.